everyone. Welcome to those who haven't been here before. Welcome back to those who have watched before. Thanks for coming again. My name is Leah Langley, and we're here to discuss the books I read in June 2026. Now, at the end of my last book video in May, I said June is going to be an interesting month because, and I'm probably going to not do very great on or have that many completed reads, because Love Island was starting. Both Love Islands, Love Island, the original in the UK, and also Love Island USA started June 2nd and June 3rd. The World Cup started June 15th. My birthday's at the end of this month. There was just a lot going on. I was like, I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to dedicate to reading. So my kind of goal in my head was like, I'll read at least 2 books, was like my goal. If I can get 2, great. And really the only reason for that was because that way it'd still be books plural, instead of saying like book I read. Because anyways, that was my only thinking. I was like, I'll do 2 books as the minimum that I'm going to go for, essentially. And I mean, you're here now. You probably saw my thumbnail. I finished with 3. Surprised kind of a little bit, though, because I was really only thinking I was going to be able to do 2, but it kind of came up in a good way. Again, if you've seen the thumbnail, this month is really like a film and TV adaptation month, because all 3 of the books I read this month have been adapted into film and television, and I actually saw all of them first and then read the book after, and one shortly thereafter, like a couple days after I watched the TV show. I read the book. Yeah, let's jump right in with the first book of the month. The first book of the month, 23rd book for the year, is The Big Short: Inside the Doomsday Machine by Michael Lewis. Now, this book, I first heard about this whole thing from the film, the 2015 film that I really, really enjoy. I thought was really smart, really great. It's with Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Jeremy Strong, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, a lot of people in there. Adam McKay directed it. And it is all about, the film and the book is all about like the financial crisis of 2008, and kind of like these people who were able to basically see into the future just by looking essentially that, oh, the housing market is literally going to implode on itself, and how many of these people were running like investment firms or things like that, whatever, and basically shorted the banks to say like, yeah, the housing bubble is going to bust, and the banks were like, you're ridiculous, you're kidding me, like, no, it's not going to happen. Say, okay. And then ended up making a whole bunch of money basically afterward, and everyone was like, oh, how did you know all these kind of things. But it was kind of like clear, like it was in there. It was like anyone, if we were looking, could see that it was clear, that it was in there. I feel like this book, as well as the film, did a good job of trying to explain as much best as possible to a layman or layperson how some of this stuff works, because in the film they have some kind of funny moments where they have like Margot Robbie, Anthony Bourdain, may rest in peace, like where something really complicated gets explained, and then they cut to like this celebrity cutaway, and it's like them as the celebrity saying, here's Margot Robbie explaining to you triple B rated bonds quickly, and it's like her giving you a quick kind of basic breakdown of it or something like that, to kind of keep you, like, help you get it, but also kind of help you like keep up with everything that's going on. The book, obviously they can't like have like these random celebrity cameos in the book, but I feel like the book did that to some level, but also was one of those ones where when I was reading, I was like, okay, I gotta go back actually and like read that again, because wait, what does this fully mean? I mean, obviously we know what happened with the 2008 financial crisis, and like, you know, these people who predicted these things, and the banks ended up getting bailed out, and that's a whole kind of like different saga and all these kind of things. And the author talks about that a little bit at the end of the book, a little bit, how like some Congress people and other people at the end of when the book was published were reaching out to him like, hey, like trying to get information. It was like, no, this is like your job. Like, I just am reporting on like what happened here. Anyway, but it was one of those where it's very, if you're in finance, you probably are all on it, but like it's very one of those where you, at least for me, I had to go back at times and highlight and like, you know, say, okay, let me read this slowly. What is he saying here? To make sure I get what they're saying, because these are very obviously people who are very deep in these careers and deep in these jobs and everything like that, where it's like they know what's going on. I fully don't know what's going on, not all the way, but I was able to follow at least enough. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I think overall with this book, it really is one of those kind of just like, it's obviously you talk about it in kind of like dollars and cents here and like, oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, but when you think about it in the grand scale of things, like people have still not recovered from this financial crisis that's been almost 20 years ago. People's lives have still been completely shattered from this from the way things happened, and that were very purposely happened this way, like, giving people these horrible mortgages. They were seeing some of these stories in this book about like, I remember one example that popped out to me, and I think I have it highlighted. If you follow me on Goodreads, you can see it there. Like a strawberry picker in California got like $1 million mortgage loan. It's like, and how, like, basically like explaining how that even happens. Or like this au pair in Chicago, I think, was another one where they kept giving her loans and she was buying multiple houses. It's like, how does this even happen? And basically it explains how this happens. It explains how these people saw through all of that and basically were able to suss it out, and it kind of goes between all these different individuals and their stories, and that kind of explaining that, while also adding all the context of like the real life situation and seeing like how it all played out. And it's like, it's crazy. Some of the things you're really just like, how is this even possible? Like, how devastating this is. Like, and like I said, as I was saying at the beginning, you're like, we're dealing with like numbers and things like that here, but these are actually people's lives that really were severely affected. And who got bailed out? The banks, not the people who got literally screwed in this. Because I think it's something like this. Like, it's some people I can see can turn this and say, like, well, that strawberry picker, why would he sign up for $1 million mortgage loan? Like, okay, I get you can ask questions like this, but still, like, it should never be a situation where these kind of things are set up like this, where there's these predatory loans to purposely like hurt people. And again, that's something that gets explained as well, like how some of these people got wrapped up in some of these things, and how they got tied to paying much more than they were originally supposed to, all these kind of things, because these things were structured in such a way that were just like there just to make, that's like good old capitalism, just to make people money and just to kind of fix the bottom lines. And these things were like staring people in the face, staring these big banks and like firms in the face. But no one bothered to even like actually look into it, and it was too late until someone finally actually started to like care, because it was like, it's over, basically, like you're toast. So that was the first book for the month. It was one, again, it was on my list for kind of a little bit to read, because I like the film so much. I was interested to see what the actual reporting and book would be from Michael Lewis himself. He also, I didn't even realize this until I started reading it, that he also wrote The Blind Side. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Have I read The Blind Side? I don't think I actually read The Blind Side, so maybe that's why I didn't realize. But I've seen the movie, obviously. Yeah, so that's first book for June and 23rd book for the year. All right, second book for June and 24th of the year is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is Off-Campus series number 1. In this series, there's 4 or 5 books. Now I'm going to start with the TV show first. And I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5. The TV show, I remember in end of May, or even beginning of April, beginning of June, I can't exactly remember. Whenever Off Campus came out, a couple weeks after that, I kept seeing, as many of you might have had a similar thing, I kept seeing people talking about Off Campus, and maybe like ads as well, but people talking about Off Campus, and I kept seeing these little bits of things, like even things I would just scroll past, but at some point, I just like, I don't know what it necessarily was, but at some point I just stopped and said, let me just pull up an episode and see, like, what is this show? It's on Amazon Prime in the US, and I'm not sure, maybe everywhere else as well, but I'm not 100% sure. And I watched literally 4 episodes, and it's 8 episodes, so I watched 4 episodes in one night, and I watched the final 4 the following night. Just one of those you can kind of just quickly get through. They're like an hour each, a little under an hour each. But I like put away what I was doing, other things I was doing. I think I was like, actually I was reading The Big Short, and I said, pause, I'm going to watch Off Campus. And I got through that TV show in 2 days. I thought it was quite a good TV show. They already got renewed for a second season for the next kind of crop of people who are going to be leading the charge. And then I was like, oh, okay, through watching the show, I realized it was the book. Because, again, being able to engage with more people and people talking about this book series that they really liked. And I was like, okay, well, should I read it? Like, I don't know, the TV show is good. Let me just pull up the book. Like, it'll probably be a quick, easy read. Like, just see what it's about. And I actually have the other ones as well. The rest of the series. I don't know how much you can see the glare. Again, 4 books in the series. I think there's one other kind of like small epilogue-y type book, but The Deal is the first one. And in the TV show, and this book follows Garrett Graham. Each book is like covering like a hockey boy, but then they have like a partner as well. Garrett Graham, who's hockey player at this school, and Hannah Wells, who is a student at the same school, was like a singer. She's doing all these great things, whatever. They share a class, and the book kind of opens up at a point where they're getting their grades back for this class, and he needs basically to be tutored. And he just basically sees that she got an A on this exam, and he needs to be tutored because he has to have his GPA grade point average at a certain level to be able to play hockey. So he tries to like figure out, can we make a deal essentially to like, you can tutor me and that way I could like be successful in hockey. She has this crush on this other guy in the class and at the school, and he susses this out, and she's kind of hesitant at first, and she basically eventually decides, okay, I'll like basically tutor you, and we'll like basically fake date, because he very cocky about it, but it is true. Like, he's like the man on campus, and if she's seen with him, she's gonna immediately kind of be interesting, or people at least take interest in her and be like, who's that, and like could make this guy Justin jealous. So that happens, but surprise, surprise, they end up falling in love, and that whole kind of thing, and that's that story. And then they have these different things they have to work out, things from their past, things in their families that they're working through together and opening up to each other in this kind of nice little college romance piece. Again, it's a quick kind of it was an easy read to get through, just something I just now and then at night, maybe when Love Island wasn't on, just like quickly getting through and reading it. Not bad. Coming fresh off the TV show, which I watched the TV show again like a week or two before I started the book, maybe even just like a week or so. It was interesting to see right away some of the differences that the TV show did. Like in the TV show, and maybe it's just maybe for smoother. TV is different than movie. So TV is different than book. Excuse me. Like Justin, the crush that Hannah has. In the TV show, he's a musician, which she is as well, so that's their connection point. In the book, he's a football player, while Garrett's the hockey player. And they're in the same class, but it's like, there's not necessarily the connection on the music. It's just like, maybe this just hot guy. Some like other like little bits like that was interesting to see, like, oh, like that's different than how it was in the TV show, and things like this. Even like the next book, the TV show is going to be on Hannah's roommate, Allie, and the guy, I forget the guy's name, Dean, the like kind of douchey, another one of the douchey hockey players. But in the book series, the next book is on like Garrett's best friend Logan and his partner. So again, just like sussing out some of these things. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to read the other 3 books. Again, like I said, I have them. I know they're filming the TV show already now. Who knows how quickly that will be in production. I can talk a while about how long it takes TV to be produced these days. It's ridiculous. I have them. I'll suss it out to see if I will read them when the next season comes out, or even watch the next season. I don't know. But the TV show was quite good. The book was, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It's not like an amazing rating, but it was an easy, quick, good read, and I enjoyed it enough, especially fresh off the TV show. So that is The Deal by Elle Kennedy, 24th book of the year and second for this month. Final book for the month, the 3rd book for the month, and the 25th for the year is one I've had on my, you may have seen it behind me in some videos, or I don't know, other things, because I've had it for a while and it's been kind of like, I just haven't read it, but I was always going to, is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book is great. I finished it this morning, and I got through it quicker than I expected. I picked this book up again after I finished my last book, which I forget exactly the day I finished it, but I started this on Juneteenth, like barely cracked it open on Juneteenth, and I wasn't thinking I was going to finish this. I was going to kind of like lazily read it, because again, the World Cup is really busy and things are going on. I have Love Island all the time. Again, my birthday is soon. Today is June 25th. I'm recording this. So I was not planning on finishing this book, but the book is so good that I just wanted to keep reading and reading and reading. And again, just like all books, when you're reading, just like take time when you can, just to, even if it's only like 30 pages, it's just a chapter, whatever like that, just like crack it and do it, and you can get through it, especially if it's an enjoyable read that you kind of keep wanting continuing to do. And that's certainly what I did with this book, and I just had it on my person pretty much all the time, and would just read it as I was going along. A lot of times it's nice to have, I keep fidgeting with it, it's nice to have an actual physical book. I have a lot of physical books, but sometimes as of late, like I read a lot of books on my iPad as well. So it's easy to kind of bring this around, but this is obviously a little bit thicker, but it was nice to hold and walk around, and I always will enjoy having an actual book in my hand. So yeah, this book I bought just after seeing Project Hail Mary in March. I should say I gave the book 4.5 out of 5. And Project Hail Mary is one of my favorite movies this year. And I went to see it like early, like a week before it released, because it was in my area playing in 70mm. So I was like, oh, I want to go see it. And I remember going to the movie, and some people in the line for concessions having that book in their hand and being like, well, this is like kind of, maybe not like a lot, but like, it was like, why do they have the book in their hand? Like, this Andy Weir's not here to sign the book, or Ryan or whoever. Like, okay, but maybe they're like finishing up as they're in the line. I don't know. But I was like, oh yeah, there's a book. I like remembered. I knew there was a book always, but maybe I'll read it at some point. But I decided to get it after seeing the movie, because the movie right away, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is like incredible. How great is the story? I want to read this book. And I bought it literally like a week or two after seeing it. So it's been on my shelf since March. So it's been on my shelf for about 3 months. And it kept kind of getting pushed down the line, kicked down the line, as I kept getting books from the library, things like that I had to like read, because there's a deadline. I was like, I'll get to it. At some point I'll read it. And like I just said, I wasn't planning on reading it. I wasn't planning on finishing it this June. I was kind of just gonna like lazily do it, and now and then. But it's such a good book that again, I just really couldn't put it down. I just really wanted just to kind of tear through it. And even though I knew where the story's going, because I've seen the film, and there wasn't too many diversions from how they did it in the film to how it is in the book, so I knew overall where the arc was going to be. I still was just like flipping through every page, and I haven't read like science fiction in a while. I feel like I was even trying to think. I was like, have I ever read science fiction before? I certainly have. Right away, I was thinking, like, oh, I read like Hunger Games and like the Divergent series, but like this is like a different kind of science fiction. It's very science, and science is cool. I like science. That's what I did. I don't know. That's all up in there. Obviously, let me talk about Project Hail Mary as a story. Sorry, I'm talking about just like my connection to the book or my relation to it. Project Hail Mary is a story about a Hail Mary project, where Dr. Ryland Grace wakes up in a bed, naked, and is like being asked like, what's 2 + 2? And he's like, he can't answer. He's kind of stumbling. He's clearly coming out of a coma, but he's like, he has like amnesia. He's not really getting it. He quickly figures out as he actually gets out of the bed that he is in space. And he's wondering like, wait, why am I here? How did I get here? Wait, what's even my name? And memories are starting to come back to him basically over the course of this entire book, this entire journey that we're following him on. And all these things get revealed. And basically, as the story goes along, he realizes he's on this ship because the sun is dying, and it's being eaten by astrophage that is like basically dimming the sun. And everyone in the world basically has like in Earth has worked together to come together to come together. That's a little Beatles thing that we're talking about in a minute. Have come together to basically put this Project Hail Mary together to send some astronauts to this faraway star, Tau Ceti, because that's like the one planet like in their like solar system that's not dying of astrophage. It's not like dimming. So it's like, we need to figure out what's going on. The problem is they don't have enough astrophage to come back. So it's a mission where you're not going to come back from. It's like you're going to send John, Paul, Ringo, and George. That's kind of the joke that the Beatles, this really Beatles fan in the book, who decides to write it like that. You're going to send those back to Earth, but you're not going to make it back because we don't have enough astrophage for you. So woo, thanks so much for doing the research, and you're great. So in the book, we're slowly figuring some of this stuff out. Like, he's on this ship, like, what's happening? We realize he's a high school teacher. We walk back to like the moment where Dr. Strat comes to his high school and basically says, hey, we need you to do some like research for us, and how he basically gets brought into it because he learns how to breed astrophage. He ends up becoming like the world leader in astrophage like science and all these kind of things. And he meets this alien whose planet is also dying, Iridian, and he calls him Rocky, and they basically are both up there together, both alone. Both of their crewmates have died. 23 for Rocky and 2 for Grace, and he's up there. They're working together. They meet. They have to make a shared language. They have to kind of like or translate to each other. Figure out how are we gonna figure out how to not make Astrophage stop killing our planets essentially. And they come on this great journey together. And it's these two people who, have nothing alike, but also have so many things alike, and they can work together. And again, they have a shared mission of kind of saving their people. And again, through this amnesia, he realizes that he actually was someone who was almost like a trainer for these people who were going to be going up on the science side of things, who were going up for this mission, but they had a tragic accident 9 days before the launch, and he basically said, okay, we need you to go, and he didn't want to do it. He was cowardly in a sense, didn't want to go because again, it's a mission you're not going to come back from. But he gets dragged there anyway. They say, we can't really risk it. You're the one who's been in all the trainings. You have the coma resistance, yada yada. So you're going, and they knock him out essentially, keep him in a jail cell, give him this amnesia pill, so that way he's gonna slowly remember after he's already committed to the mission. So it kind of comes into this point where he realizes this towards the end of everything kind of, but again, he's already committed at this point. He gets faced with the thing of saving himself or trying to save Rocky, his friend and collaborator, and all these things, and also saving his planet, both of their planets. So there's all these kind of decisions going on. You're in space, you're dealing with this complicated subjects, even your new alien life, new chemicals and things you're dealing with, all this stuff happening all the time. And it's just really beautifully laid out and just takes you on this really great story. And I just really, really thought it was just an excellent book, excellent film, excellent everything. I just really, really enjoyed it, and I think I can see why those people were holding those books in the concession line when I was at the movie, because I could see wanting to I don't know, read it back or rush through it, kind of not rush through it really, but you know what I'm saying. Andy Weir, I realized too, actually, after when I bought the book, I realized that he also wrote the book The Martian, that became a movie with Matt Damon a couple years ago. I was like, oh, and I think I watched that movie. Did I watch it this year? I watched it kind of recently. I missed it when it came out. But yeah, that is it. That is the last book for June 2026 and the 25th for the year. So I'm getting myself confused. So yeah, those are the 3 books for June 2026. Two of the adaptations star Ryan Gosling. So how about that, Ryan? Yeah, those are 3 good books. I feel like this month, kind of good books for this time. Kind of, again, as I kind of have said a couple times, with everything going on right now in my life with with both my Love Islands, with the World Cup, again with work, social, all these type of things going on. It's nice to have nice kind of mostly relaxing kind of nice good reads that you kind of just want to just keep reading and going to. And obviously this month was a nonfiction book and 2 fiction books, but really really good ones. Project Hail Mary being the best of the 3, I would say, and one I would really recommend to all of you. I recommend The Big Short as well, and then The Deal. I mean, why not read The Deal? I mean, I gave it a lower rating than the others, but go ahead and read it. Yeah, that is essentially it for this video. As I always try to remind you, follow me on Goodreads and Storygraph. Goodreads and Storygraph is where I am updating my books. Even though I have Project Hail Mary here, I also actually just happened that I got it on Kindle at the library at the same time, a couple days after I started reading this, which I liked because even if I have a physical book I like to get it on Kindle because Kindle will link directly to Goodreads, so I can highlight and save everything, because I'm not someone who highlights the book. So I would literally I'd be on the train reading, and I'd find a sentence that I thought was funny or something I wanted just to highlight. Maybe an Iridium system that I needed to know later, how the numbers work. And I'd grab my iPad, because maybe I'd have my iPad here, and I'd pull up the book on Kindle and say highlight, and it's save. So that all gets linked to my Goodreads. So you can see in my Goodreads some notes I made or highlights I made, things like that, whatever. That's all there for all three of those books. They will all be there from this month. So do that. Storygraph doesn't have integrations like that for Kindle directly, but Storygraph is, I'm new to it this year. You can follow me there and get some of the same info. As always, give me good recommendations. It is July. The World Cup is still going until July 19th, so who knows what July is going to look like, and Love Island's still going to be going it's going to be going all of July. So who knows what July is going to look like, but we are excited for whatever is going to come up next. Book-wise, I got to think about what's even next on my list. I don't even know, because again, I was not planning on finishing Project Hail Mary this soon, but when a good book comes, you don't let it sit too long. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. This was kind of a little bit of like a blabber session. I feel like I was kind of just going here and chatting and talking, and maybe that comes more fluidly because some of these or all these books from this month were film and TV adaptations, so I have a mix of both the book and the TV or film in my head. So that was all right. If you made it this far, it seems like it was all right because you're still here, and that's great. So I really, as always, really appreciate you watching. Give me your recommendations, sitting here with me virtually and talking about these things. Feel free to talk more with me in the comments. All the good things. We'll see you in July for more books, or even sooner for something else that comes up. But I'm here.